go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Marauder Morning Podcast. As always, I am here with my two favorite guys, Mark and Ryan. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Not too bad.
Good,
Went
good.
for a walk and enjoyed the
Went for
nice
a walk.
weather outside. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, actually, how are you guys feeling now? We're getting a little sunshine into our lives. Yesterday, not so great. Today, very nice, though. Maybe we'll try to get this done quickly so we can all go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the
It'll be
weather's dope.
nice.
Yes. Yeah, it's always good to get out of the snowy Hamilton winter, although this year not so bad. Only a couple hard days of snow. I think we all made it through okay. Didn't need the snow with the pandemic going on, so it's nice we got a little break in that department with everything else going on. But we're not here to talk weather today as much as we would love to, I'm sure. We're here to talk a little bit of sports because this is Marauder Morning, a sports podcast, in case you didn't know. Today we're going to talk about a couple great things. As always, we are teeing it off with golf to start the show, courtesy of our man Ryan. Then we're going to head over to some March Madness talk. None of us claim to be experts on March Madness or college basketball at large, but we're going to do our best to pick some games that we think are interesting to watch out for. And then NFL free agency kicked off this past week, so we're going to take a look at our favorite free agency signings in our draft segment this week. How does that all sound to you guys?
Sounds awesome.
Sounds
amazing,
awesome.
man.
Yes. Awesome. All right, let's do it. Yes. High energy episode today of the Marauder Morning Podcast. And we'll get it started off with the most high energy and most intense sport in the game. We're talking golf. Ryan,
Talking golf.
throw it over to you, my man. Tell
Okay.
us about the Players' Championship.
Yep. Players' Championship last weekend takes place at TPC Sawgrass, one of the most iconic golf courses ever. If you haven't seen Hole 17, you should definitely check it out. It's basically you got to tee off the ball or tee off the golf ball, yeah.
Yep.
And it landed on an island, basically. Not a very big island either, so definitely give a lot of players nightmares. So yeah, Justin Thomas, after a pretty rough last couple of months, he got his Ralph Lauren sponsorship taken away from him. He had to endure Tiger, one of his good friends, going through the accident. Grandpa died a couple of months ago. His game hasn't been all there. So it's been a rough couple months. So it was nice to see him win. He really won with a strong final day. He was 4 under on the day. He wasn't anywhere near the top of the leaderboard. But after a solid day, I think he started off the day with like 9 pars in a row.
Wow.
So he was kind of just steady throughout the start of the day. And then he picked it up with a couple birdies, an eagle, and came out on top. The two guys at the top in the final day were DeChambeau and Westwood. And those are the same two guys at the top the last championship. And they both kind of beat themselves. I wouldn't really say that Thomas beat them out, even though he did have a solid day. I'd say DeChambeau and Westwood kind of fluffed. Westwood was battling his swing all day. And DeChambeau, oh my gosh, if he wasn't hitting the ball straight, he was hitting it way right. And just watching it, you could see how frustrated both of them were throughout the day. So that's pretty much all I got. I just wanted to point out that Matthew Fitzpatrick ended nowhere near the top 5. So enemy of the show. And I had a question for you guys.
Yes.
So one of the top guys going to the final day, Lee Westwood, he doesn't have the prototypical caddy. So the game has changed where... So back in the past, the players used to know everything about the game. They used to study the course. They'd know what clubs to use. They'd know how to read the greens and everything. But the torch has kind of been passed off to the caddies now. And the caddies they have all the information. They study the greens. They study how the player is going to hit. They study the weather conditions. Like they know everything. And the players are kind of just like, okay, what do I do? And then they do it. But with Lee Westwood, his fiance is actually on his caddy. And a lot of people are saying that because she doesn't know a lot about golf, blah 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 blah, that she's not helping him win. But I would like to beg to differ because I read an article that said Lee Westwood in his 30s, he was taking golf way too hard. He was like, he would get mad at himself if he wasn't winning, if he wasn't in the top 10. He kind of had to like take a break from golf just because he was so focused on winning, and it kind of led him off into a bad path. So now with his fiance as his caddy, he's been like top 2, top 5 for the last, like, I don't know how long. So I wanted to ask you guys, is it worse to care too much about a sport or to care too little about a sport?
Mark, you go. This is a good one. This is a really interesting question.
Yeah. I'm going to go with care too little.
Is
I
it
think
worse?
that's the worst out of the two. I feel like, yeah, especially for those players who are talented and have the skill to like succeed in the sport, like just the effort and kind of the motivation, if that's what holds you back from taking that next step, like that's definitely the worst out of the two. Like if I think of caring too much, like I think of players like Kobe who like put like their heart and soul into the game, and like yeah, you can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, like that's what makes players great. And so yeah, definitely caring too little is not the better of the two.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna agree. I was actually gonna say Kobe Bryant as well. You know, no one's ever gonna say that Kobe Bryant cared too much, or Michael Jordan cared too much, or Wayne Gretzky cared too much. But you know, you're always gonna hear like the burnouts, the draft bust. You're always gonna hear the guys like that cared too little. You know, and that's something that's gonna follow you around. So I don't know, but it's a delicate balance, like you mentioned here with Lee Westwood. You can hit that burnout point, which is, you know, you're burning out of your sport, and if it's taking away your love of the game and it's taking away your ability to play it, then you have to find the happy balance. But I think, yeah, I'm going to totally agree with Mark. Just caring too little is not conducive to a good sports career, and we see that time and again.
Yeah, my example would be Tiger Woods, just to relate it to golf. That guy had such a strict schedule when he was in his prime. He was like tee off in the morning, and then breakfast, and then workout, and then do something else, and then work out, and then back to golf, and then go for a run. And he was going crazy. But like, you don't get like 80 plus wins on the tour if you're not that dedicated. And yeah, I just bring up the question because like just like looking at past film of Lee Westwood, like he looked so like dejected when he wasn't doing good, and like now when he's at the top, like you can't smack a smile off that guy's face. And it's definitely all because of his fiance, and she's a big part of telling him like, just don't take it too seriously, like you're here for a reason, just go do what you can do. So good on her. I wanted to give her a little
that's so cute.
Yeah, I saw that over the weekend on Instagram or whatever, and you know, to the people who are kind of saying, well, your caddy has to be your wealth of knowledge and has to be your key to the golf course and know all this stuff and blah 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 blah. Your goal as a caddy golfer partnership is to win the tournament, and whatever you got to do within that partnership, within the rules of the game, to give you your best chance to go on and win tournaments, that's your best option, right? And there's going to be no better option except what's best for you. So, you know, like guys like Tiger had that caddy forever. I can't remember his name, and he was his information like data bank, and that worked for Tiger because Tiger could just lock into the course and play his golf game. But if it's better for you to have someone there to relax you and actually kind of take your mind off the game a little bit, then great, man. Awesome. Whatever works is what I say.
And he finished second overall. So for all the people saying, "Oh, he would have won," I mean, he was only like one shot away. So I mean, maybe, but it could also be a double-edged sword, and he could have, you know, not had that moral support, and he could have ended up at the bottom of the leaderboard. So you never know.
And he's been a lot more consistent than a lot of the bigger names this season too. You know, like he hasn't I don't think he's won any tournaments yet, if I'm remembering correctly, but he's been pretty high up in the rankings and just about everyone he's been in. So it's working. So, why criticize it?
Honda Classic next week, so you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Or next weekend. So.
Yo, there's a lot of golf going on, eh?
There's a lot of golf going
Wow.
on.
Every weekend.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, golf's great because, like we say with Justin Thomas, who's had a tough time the last couple months, you get all these chances for redemption stories and like great storylines to come out of golf because someone's winning something every single week, right, or every other week or so. So there's always a trophy going out, so there's always a chance for great storylines. And yeah, big shout out to Justin Thomas for winning this one. Anything else you got?
Nope, I just wanted to rub it in Fitzpatrick's face.
Yeah.
Mention Lee Westwood's fiance, and then shout out to Thomas. That's pretty much it.
I will say the Bryson DeChambeau thing you hit on is interesting because obviously he's a big power golfer, right? He's the power golfer in the game right now. And where his game is going to fall short naturally is in that finesse, right? He's just not going to have the touch of other guys if he's cranking up the power. So when you get to these holes that are the little island and then the big thing of water around it, Bryson DeChambeau's going to get close and get it far, but he's not always going to be able to finesse it onto the island like some other guys might be able to.
You can tell, like, some of these other guys, like, they're using, like, pitching wedges, like, they're small clubs, and, like, they're taking full swings. But, like, Bryson DeChambeau, you can tell he's using his smallest club, and he's taking, like, a 40% shot. Like, it's definitely not the most comfortable shot for him, because he's used to launching the ball all the way down.
You can definitely tell he's way more comfortable on those courses where, like we mentioned last week with the Arnold Palmer Classic, he took that shortcut drive, right? I'm sure he loves doing that much more than trying to make those chip shots. If he can crank one and skip part of the course or sail over everyone, he's happy. But I get the feeling, he doesn't love those little short chip shots as much.
Yeah.
Right.
Why not?
There we go. That was the Players' Championship. Is that what it is? Players' Championship? Did I get that right? All right. Got it right. Nice.
Players' Championship / relationship goals. That was
relationship goals. Yeah.
Relationship goals, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I don't know what you talked about, but that's awesome. I love little stories in sports like that. And when people just go, forget like what other people are doing, right? Like, I'm going to do what works for me. And I'm going to have fun, you know what I mean? So it's awesome. And it's working is like the main thing, right? So awesome. And great for them. That's really cool stuff. What are you laughing at?
Do you ship them?
Sure.
You put a big heart on them?
They're engaged. It's kind of past the point whether anyone needs to ship them or not. They're down the road on that one. So
that's going to be a movie. That's going to be a movie for sure. So? I can see it. Yeah.
Or a 30 for 30.
30 for 30 is a good one. Yeah,
30
a
little
short documentary.
A little dog.
Yeah. It's good. That's awesome. I love those stories. All right. That's good on golf, Ryan. You good there?
Yep.
Happy? All right. Let's move on to March Madness. It is March, in case anyone hasn't noticed, and it's very likely that you haven't noticed. I barely did. But it is March, which means one thing and one thing only, and that is college basketball March Madness. Like I said at the top of the show, we're just going to come out and admit that I certainly have not watched any college basketball this year. I don't know about you guys. I'll let you speak for yourselves, but I keep kind of close attention on college basketball in general, but not an expert. From what I understand, you guys don't consider yourself experts either. But we know basketball. Hopefully you've noticed that in our previous episodes. And so we're just going to kind of talk this through together, have a nice casual conversation on March Madness, and see where we end up. We've got a little bit of a format. We're all going to pick a game that we think is worth paying attention to in the round of 64. We're not going to give our whole brackets because that would be about a 4-hour show. You can check out ESPN or CBS or any of the guys with lots of money if you want to see any of that. But we're just going to talk through some games. Any of you guys want to go first? You guys had some really interesting picks. Ryan kind of teased he had a really big upset brewing. So maybe we'll go to him third. Mark, you want to go first or you want me to kick it off?
Sure. I can go.
All right. Take it away.
Cool. So mine's a little weird. I'm kind of banking on, or I'm waiting on the first four games
Mm-hmm.
to finish and to see who comes out of there. But I'm going with the BYU matchup against either Michigan State or UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of thinking that Michigan State's going to win that game and make their way into the tournament. I'm hoping, at least, or else my pick kind of changes because I don't really know UCLA basketball like
Right.
that. But yeah, I've watched a couple Michigan State games, and I know they have Rocket Watts. He used to play with LaMelo Ball at Spire Academy. He can score the ball pretty well. And they play in the Big Ten, which is one of the best conferences in college basketball this season. So, yeah, I'm kind of hoping they'll upset BYU, who's ranked or who's seeded sixth in the tournament. So that's my upset for this year.
Yeah, I have that one tagged as an upset for sure too.
Yeah.
When I did my bracket, I picked either Michigan State or UCLA to beat BYU. BYU plays in kind of a goofy conference, and Michigan State has a very recent history of they were in the Final Four last year, if I remember correctly. Is that right? Anyone?
Maybe well, not last year because COVID.
Oh,
but
yeah, 2 years ago.
Like
when I say
2
last
years
year,
ago,
I mean
yeah.
2019. Yeah, but
The last March Madness. Yeah.
right. The most recent March Madness, they were in the Final Four. So they've got some legit experience on that team. UCLA is UCLA, but they haven't been one of those premier schools in a while. But they're still a basketball-heavy program. I'm just not sure about BYU. We all remember Jimmer Fredette, but I don't think they have a Jimmer Fredette this year. We'll see, you know. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting matchup to watch. And that first four matchup, Michigan State versus UCLA, you know, we're kind of skipping right over that, but that's going to be a good game too. So kind of two games wrapped into one there, I think are going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Ryan, do you have any read on this matchup?
None at all.
None at all. All right, thank you for being honest. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's really rare that we get two kind of premier basketball schools in one of these first four matchups. So we're getting really good matchups early on, which is interesting. I don't think I've ever watched a first four game, but I might actually watch this one. So there you go. Anything else you want to hit on as far as your pick, BYU versus Michigan State, you're assuming?
Yeah. No, not really. Just keep an eye out for Rocket Watts. I think
Rocket
that's
Watts.
my player of the game for that game.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. You got a player to watch. You're going in depth. Oh, my goodness. All right, head over to my pick. I've got Oklahoma versus Mizzou. And I don't know anything particularly about either of these teams, but I'm going to kind of use this to make a sweeping prediction about March Madness this year, and why it's going to be kind of different from other March Madnesses in the past. Basketball, as compared to other college sports, is interesting because you get a lot more interconference play. You know, the SEC will play the Big 12, and, you know, Pac-12 will play Mountain West and whatever. You get a lot more interconference plays because there's just more preseason and regular season games, more opportunities for those scheduling opportunities. And this year with, you know, COVID and all that crap, not very many teams have had interconference play. You get the Big 12 and the SEC. Oklahoma is a Big 12 team. Mizzou is the SEC team. Those conferences are in states with lower COVID restrictions, so they're getting more cross-play, and those teams are going interconference to play better teams. You get schools like San Diego State or Gonzaga's had a pretty good schedule this year, but like Creighton, teams that are in like the Big East or the Mountain West, these conferences that are really weak in the conference, but usually play a ton of games against other bigger conferences. That doesn't happen this year, so I don't think any of these teams have had the reality check of playing, like, you know, Creighton will go play Auburn, and they've been destroying everyone in their conference, but then they get destroyed by Auburn, and it's kind of a reality check, and we get to kind of pace out where these teams are realistically with one another. So I think we have inflated records, and I think we're going to see a lot less upsets this year. That's kind of my prediction. What do you guys think of that? That was a lot of stuff I just said.
Yeah, COVID has definitely changed it up. So yeah, just going off your logic, like if you're so used to,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you're so used to playing these weak teams, and then you get hit with this stiff competition, you know who's gonna win.
Yeah, yeah. The team I really worry about is like teams like Villanova, right? Villanova has always been a really good team, and does well against out of conference opponents. But this year they only played Big East teams for the most part. Like St. John's, Providence, and not great schools for basketball, and they haven't had that reality check of going out and playing someone out of their conference. Um, so I just worry about the experiences of these littler teams. Um, I'm not sure we're going to see the upset. So that's why I'm picking Oklahoma versus Mizzou. Like I said, Big 12 versus SEC team. Both these teams have played interconference. They played lots of really, really great quality teams. So I think they're going to be prepared for March Madness. Is kind of the point I'm trying to arrive at with all this. Yeah.
Fair point.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have any players to watch or anything like that, like Mark had. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to this one. I think the quality matchups are going to be really good this year, and even better than in years prior.
Yeah, an 8 and 9 game is always like
Mm-hmm.
you know what you're getting because they're both kind of at the same level.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's always kind of, if you're just going off the seeds, like which game you would watch. 8 and 9 is always a good one because they are right next to each other in the seeding, and pretty close teams. So you're bound for a pretty good game. Good point. All right, Ryan.
yes,
Big upset you teased today in the podcast group chat. What do you got?
yep.
Let's hear it.
Okay, in the South bracket, I have the game to watch of Ohio State and Oral Roberts.
Okay.
So after doing a fair bit of research, I want to tell the people that I wouldn't be surprised if Oral Roberts wins. I got to be honest because
I'm excited.
they have Max Amos averaging 25 a night. He's the leading scorer in, I think they said the nation or like his division. So that's
Nation's leading sport.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Um, so and then I looked up how many times a 15 seed has beaten the number 2 seed, and it's actually happened 8 times. So why not a 9th time?
Okay.
Okay, so let's break down the numbers. So Ohio State is 21-9, Oral Roberts 16-10. So Ohio State is averaging 77 points a game, and their opponents are 71 a game.
Okay.
Oral Roberts is 76 points a game. Or no, they're averaging 82 points a game, so higher than Ohio State. And they're locking their defenders down with only 76 points a game, better than Ohio State. So they have similar field goal percentages, around 56%. But Oral Roberts is shooting the ball a lot better from 3 with almost 40%. And Ohio State is only at 36.5. And Oral Roberts is actually shooting free throws at a clip of 82%, which is the best in their little, conference.
Yep.
So, and Ohio State this year has gone on a 4-game losing streak, but they have beaten some stiff competition on the road, so you can't count them out. Some notable players to watch on Oral Roberts: Kevin Abinor, Kareem Thompson, Max Amos, obviously leading scorer, and Elijah Lufile, who's actually a Canadian from Milton.
Oh, let's go! All right,
good on that guy. And Ohio State, you want to watch EJ Liddell, all Big Ten player. Justice Suing, a transfer from Cal University. Seth Towns, transfer from Harvard.
Oh.
And the backcourt of Dwayne Washington and CJ Walker.
Okay. So
it's going to be a tough matchup.
So taking all those numbers you just threw at us, and that's great research. I'm very impressed. I look bad right now. But what's the avenue? What part of Ohio State's game is Oral Roberts going to be able to attack and get after to get the win? Where do you
I
see it?
think I think Oral Roberts is just hungry. I think
Mm,
it's their first appearance in the tournament since 2008.
okay.
So it's that as
Yeah.
well. Um, and I don't know, like Ohio State has just been like they started off the year with a record of like 21-1,
Mm,
and then lost four straight. Um, and they've been like all around basically. Um, so I don't know if it's Ohio State being attacked. I just think Oral Roberts is hungrier. I think they want to be in this tournament. I think they
mm,
want to prove everyone, they want to prove everyone wrong. When you're the lower seed, that's definitely a big motivation.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, the reason March Madness is so great is because none of these picks are ridiculous, right? Ever since
Yeah,
Virginia got beat in the round of 64 as the one seed, all bets are off, right? So there's there's no upset too ridiculous to pick, and I'll take it. I'll accept it. Oral Roberts over Ohio State. Um, I actually have two brackets, and I have Ohio State winning one of them. So, um, yeah, that would be very bad news for me, but I
they
I would accept it.
yeah, Ohio State definitely has the size advantage.
Right. Yeah.
Oral Roberts doesn't have anybody over 6'8", and they're just like the comparison between the two. They're just smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think a guy on Ohio State, you guys probably heard of him, uh, Ibrahima Diallo. He's a monster
Mm-hmm.
at 6'10", 220. So I think against a team like Oral Roberts, he's just going to feast because he's so much bigger than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I definitely don't think it's going to be a blowout. So that's my
Right.
hot take.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's definitely like I see a kind of formula for these crazy upset teams. Like I always think of Florida Gulf Coast University, which we talked about a couple weeks ago in our draft. Um, you have to have like a weird, unexpected, special part of your game that you can just totally attack the other team and the other team won't be ready for. So you think of like Florida Gulf Coast, they had that crazy dunking attack.
yeah,
And for some reason, nobody could get in the way of it. They didn't do really anything else very well or better than any of the teams they were playing. They just had this weird, specific thing that got under the skin of all these teams they were playing and led to wins. Um, so I don't know. And some of these smaller teams, you don't really see it until you get to the big stage like this. But I'm always excited, and I'm always looking for those teams with the weird little skill or that interesting player, right? Jimmer Fredette's another example, right? He just came out of nowhere in the tournament and started taking down teams. Um, yeah, that's the great thing about March Madness.
yeah. So I mean, if I was to pick one area that Oral Roberts is going to attack, if they
Mm-hmm.
can get good looks from the 3 point and they can get to the line, um, and they can produce at the numbers that they've been producing at, then they're definitely going to do better than
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State. So
Yeah. Look, like foul trouble is the one thing in basketball I always look at, right? If a team
yeah,
worries me in the foul category, I think they can lose to anyone. So if Ohio State start getting, lackadaisical like you talked about, and they start just throwing random fouls around, all of a sudden you can get into foul trouble, and those free throws can really kill you. So
yeah,
I love that little stat, the 81% or whatever it was from free throw. That's big,
yeah.
and shouldn't be overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Mark, what do you think? Oral Roberts, can they do it?
I think in order to do it, the Max Abrams guy needs to have the game of his life
Could happen.
because
Hey, it
nation's
definitely
leading
could happen.
scorer, like, I respect that. You can score the ball, but yeah, Ohio State's a good team.
That's the
You
thing,
said
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
obviously that can happen. It's a tournament. Like, they're going in with the mindset of like, okay, one game. Like, if we win this one game, like, who knows who else can beat
Yeah.
us? So,
Right.
big confidence thing. They definitely have the chip on their shoulder coming in as a smaller school. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen,
Yeah.
but it's just funny
Yeah.
hearing it.
Is
Oral Roberts.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Mark Roberts is a funny name. Um, yeah, that's the thing, right? It happens all the time. Like it happens on a yearly basis, right? So you can't say it's that crazy, right? Like it does
Yeah,
sound crazy, the 15 seed being the 2 seed, but look at like Loyola Chicago, they made it to the Final Four, and that was obviously crazy, and they beat Virginia and what have you. But that's probably changed their basketball program for a very, very long time. You know, it brought a ton of eyes. Recruits probably look at that. You know, coaches looking for jobs are looking at that. It changes the DNA of your program if you can go on one of these runs. I'm sure nobody would have known where or what Florida Gulf Coast University was before that 2012 March Madness, but it's real, and it can change your program. And yeah, I love it. Great upset pick. It's good stuff.
But if we're going off of your logic, then it's definitely not going to happen. Because if upsets don't want to happen, then it's not going to happen. So.
Yeah, my logic is not. I wouldn't even call it logic. It's more like my gut feeling. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep coming back to this. You just can't say anything solidly about March Madness, right? There's nothing to bank on. Like in the NBA, we can go, okay, the Lakers are making the playoffs, right? They're gonna be in, like we could say pretty confidently they're gonna be in that Final Four teams, right? At least in the Western Conference Finals. We could say that with a 95% certainty. With March Madness, if I said, hey, who's the number one seed? Illinois. Is Illinois going to be in the Final Four? I don't know. I got no idea.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe just as likely that they are as they aren't. And obviously the one seed teams are better and they're going to win on a more regular basis. But March Madness is just the breeding ground for chaos, and I love it.
That's why it's called madness.
It's madness. Insanity. Yeah, it's good stuff. Anything else you guys are looking forward to March Madness wise? Like anything else that's sticking out in your brain this year? I'm just excited to get back and watching March Madness. You know, like I said, I don't watch college basketball in the regular season, but I watch a lot of March Madness. So yeah, nothing super specific that comes to mind for me, but man, am I excited just to have March Madness back.
Yeah. I was also looking at another game, Oregon versus VCU.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing my research on that one. That one's supposed to be an athletic, high-flying game.
Mm-hmm.
And just going through like the numbers, they're pretty even. But basically, Oregon has to do their best to control the boards. They're bigger down low. But if they can't do that, then apparently they're going to get trampled because they don't have a very solid backcourt.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, the Pac-12 worries me in regular years. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. Mark, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say I played against one of the guys on Oregon's team in high school.
Oh, wow.
He was in grade 10 when I was in grade 9, but I was 5'9", and he was 6'6". And
wow.
I had to guard him. But yeah, it's Eugene Omorui. He's a forward. He's a big dude.
Yeah, have him down.
Yeah, he's a monster. He used to play on Rutgers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jeez.
We'll see.
Connections. We got connections over here on the Marauder Morning Podcast.
So would you say Oregon's a lock to win, or you don't know?
Oh, no, not to win. I have them winning. I have them making it to the second round, and then that's as far as they go.
Yeah. I always worry about the Pac-12. But yeah, and VCU has been one of those teams over the last handful of years that has kind of consistently snuck away in the round of 64 and stolen a game or two. So yeah, keep an eye on that one. That's another good one.
Yeah, VCU has Nashawn Highland, a A10 player of the year, averaging 20 points a game. So yeah, watch out for that guy.
Right on.
Gotta watch out for those players of the years.
Yeah.
Yep.
It can be dangerous.
Right on.
No pushover.
That's awesome. Any final points? The other game, real quickly, that I just had down was San Diego State versus Syracuse. Syracuse is actually lower seed San Diego State. San Diego has always been, Kawhi Leonard back in the day, and I think ever since then they've been like an awesome defensive team. And Syracuse, of course, has Jim Boeheim, and it's Syracuse. So that would just be another quick one to watch out for in the round 64. Good stuff.
Does Syracuse have any big name players like they usually do, or?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, okay.
I literally, you can see down on my notes for anyone watching.
There's
here.
Jim Boeheim's son.
Oh yeah,
for the team.
that's right. Jim Boeheim's
Buddy
son.
Boeheim.
Buddy Boeheim. Yeah, watch out for Buddy Boeheim. That's right.
He's
Buddy
averaging
Boeheim.
17 points per game, so
Oh, there you go.
hey, not bad.
It's not just coach's son kind of thing.
Go, Buddy Boeheim. Is he shooting like 50 shots a game though, or are they just passing it to him and let him
Yeah,
hook it
the
up?
whole offense runs through him.
Yeah.
Shooting 10%, but he's averaging 17 points a game.
Ryan, you mentioned if I had anything else to note about the game. You can see here on my notes, it literally just says San Diego State versus Syracuse. And that's my entire notes for the March Madness section. What do you got? Oh, look at that. You got sub points and
Oh, wow.
numbers and wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, percentages.
Yeah.
Didn't want to look like a fool.
I certainly do. I have OK versus Mizzou, SDSU versus Syracuse, and that was my entirety of notes for March Madness. Once again, if you want in-depth analysis on March Madness, please head over to ESPN.com. I'm sure they'd be happy to provide it for you. That's just our initial gut feelings. All right, should we head off of March Madness then? We'll be back to talk much more in the upcoming weeks.
We will be back.
Yeah, we'll be doing more bracket stuff once we're kind of down to the round of 16. We could kind of manageably talk about everything. And once we've seen some games and actually know what we're talking about. Except for Ryan, who knows exactly what he's talking about. Well prepared. All right.
Try my best.
Let's do our draft of the week. You guys ready for that?
Yep.
All right. As I mentioned at the top of the show, NFL free agency kicking off on March 17th. That's officially when free agency opened. Legal tampering was a couple days before that. But deals are starting to come in. We're still early on. But most of the big name guys are kind of off the market now. So we're going to do our draft of the week. Our favorite free agent signings in the NFL so far. Guys, we always forget to do a draft order beforehand. So who wants to go first? Mark again.
I'll go first.
Nice. Way to take initiative.
Cool. Yeah, so kind of just preface this, like the Pats are making lots of moves.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Making a lot of signings.
Oh,
so, yeah, my first pick is going to be Jonnu Smith, tight end from Tennessee.
Nice.
Not going to lie, I don't watch a lot of football. I didn't watch a lot of football last year, but I played a lot of Madden.
Yep.
And Jonnu Smith was a problem. So, I'm assuming he is in real life as well.
Yeah, I love Jonnu Smith. Yeah, nobody really watches the Tennessee Titans that much, so none of these guys get very much airtime. But Jonnu Smith is a freak, dude. He's huge. He runs fast. He's one of those tweener guys who's somewhere between a wide receiver kind of tight end mix. He's listed as a tight end. He'll play that position, but he's really a weapon. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. 4 years, $50 million, so he's in it for quite a while. So, yeah, hopefully he thrives in that offense. Hopefully Bill Belichick can kind of get stuff back together.
Yeah, that's really what they've suffered from in the last forever, the Patriots. It's just having offensive weapons, like guys you can throw the ball to who can go make plays. And that's definitely their focus this offseason is just getting playmakers around. Because Cam Newton, didn't play awesome last year, but didn't have anyone to get the ball to, anyone to go make plays for him. And they've added 4 guys now who are legit playmakers. So yeah, Jonnu Smith, great pickup for the Patriots, and they've always known how to use tight ends. Is the other thing I get excited when the Patriots add tight ends, because they've always known how to use tight ends in the right way. All right, there we go, Jonnu Smith. I'm gonna write this down, make sure I have it. Ryan, go for it on your the second pick of the draft.
All right, just going off of Mark's point, yeah, the Patriots they're loading up. They seem mad that Tom Brady won without them. So yeah, they're spending money like it's a kid in a candy shop. And just like on the other side of that coin, I don't know if I'm wrong for saying this, but the Ravens kind of look like they're deflating. They're having a lot of players like leave their system, and I know I'm pretty sure it was a report today or yesterday that one of their players got arrested. So that can't be a good look for them.
Yeah.
But just going off that, offensive linebacker Matt Judon from the Ravens going to the Patriots, signed for 4 years, $54 million. The Patriots are just loading up on weapons. And if Cam Newton can play like the Cam Newton we know, and Matt Judon can defend him, I'm interested to see the Patriots next year.
Yeah, Matt Judon was born to play for the Patriots. He's he's one of those guys who can do everything, right? He can rush the passer from the defensive end. He can play the little stand-up linebacker. He's not an awesome, awesome in one category. He's not like Von Miller, who's an awesome pass rusher. But Matt Judon could do a little bit of everything, and that's kind of what the Patriots ask of their linebackers. You think of guys like Dante Hightower, who's on the roster, they just do a little bit of everything. Matt Judon's going to be that kind of Swiss Army knife linebacker player that Bill Belichick loves to play with. Yeah, and good point about the Ravens. I don't know what's going on up there, but yeah, they have a tough time recruiting players to come up there. I think a lot of people don't like playing in the Ravens offensive system, particularly just with how focused it is on running the ball and Lamar Jackson. And, if you're a receiver in that system, you don't catch a lot of passes. But, yeah, I don't know what's going on with the defensive side. I thought it was a pretty good system last year, and Matt Judon was used well, but maybe they just can't afford him. They've got a big extension coming up for Lamar Jackson. They're going to have to pay him soon. So they're going to start having to trim that salary cap just a little bit.
Yep.
Nice. All right, my first pick. So many options. I'm going to go with John Johnson. Going from the LA Rams to the Cleveland Browns. And I think this is maybe my best fit of free agent signings so far. He's not the best or the most talented free agent so far, but perfect fit. Cleveland needed safeties real bad. That's part of their roster. Safeties and linebackers have been a really tough part of their roster for the last ever. Everything's been a tough spot for the Cleveland Browns forever, but safeties and linebackers particularly need. John Johnson, for my money, is a top 5 safety in the league. He is a great run support tackler. He gets in there, uses his body, and plays coverage well enough. I really, really like him. They got him for about $12 million a year, which is decent safety money, but they're not paying him a crazy amount. And I think he's going to come in there and instantly change the face of that Cleveland Browns defense. He's not going to be a guy you're going to hear about a ton, but Myles Garrett is the star up there. But I think he's really going to change the complexion of this defense. Any thoughts on
I'm
John
excited.
Johnson?
I'm excited to see the Browns just going off of their playoff performance, beating the Steelers. I'm excited. So.
Yeah, they're an interesting team. I think it comes down a lot to is what is Baker Mayfield's ceiling, and how consistently is he going to be able to play in the future. But they've got a really killer defense. They've got really good offensive weapons. 2 of the best running backs in the league. They got Odell and Jarvis and Austin Hooper at tight end. And yeah, I think Cleveland's going to be an interesting one. I don't know if they're Super Bowl contenders yet, but they are deep playoff contenders for my money, which Cleveland will take, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're going to take that all the way to the bank, just being in the playoffs. Awesome. Any thoughts on John Johnson? Do either of you guys familiar with him?
I am not familiar with him.
No, I was trying to look him up, but I can't really find him on my list here. So.
Yeah.
Where was he before? You said the Rams?
He went from the Rams to Cleveland. He got kind of lost in the shuffle with LA. They have, Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. I forgot his name. They got defensive stars over there, and John Johnson was kind of the third guy. But I think he's going to pop with Cleveland. He's going to pop big time. Right on. Back to the top of the order. Mark, your second pick of the draft.
I'm gonna go with an older player, definitely a vet, Emmanuel Sanders to the Bills.
Ooh. Interesting one.
Yeah, not too sure what shape he's in the past couple of years. I definitely recognize him from, I think he was on the 49ers.
Yep.
He's coming from the Saints, I'm pretty sure. But definitely not a crazy weapon, but an offensive weapon nonetheless. And adding to the Bills' offense with Diggs and Cole Beasley and Josh Allen, I think having another weapon would benefit them. And I don't know about taking it to another level, but it would definitely help them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is a really good signing for both the Bills and Emmanuel Sanders because, Emmanuel Sanders is 33 or 34 at this point, so he was never really a number one option. He's always been a really great number two, But where I think this is going to work really well for him and for the Bills is he's going to be able to come in and be like the best number 3 or number 4 receiver in the league, or one of the top guys, right? Because they've got Stephon Diggs, who's awesome, maybe the best receiver in the league, and then you got Cole Beasley over there, who's kind of your number 2, and you got some other guys in the fold. And Emmanuel Sanders will not have to do a bunch of high volume stuff. He's not going to have to beat crazy coverages. He's just going to be able to catch some nice little passes, and I think he'll end up with, he won't have 1,000 yards receiving or anything, but he's going to be really helpful to this Bills team. So great fit.
Good points.
Any other thoughts on Emmanuel Sanders?
Backing it up to me.
Yeah. From the Saints, 49ers before that, Steelers back in the day. He was kind of...
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was... Yeah, he kind of got lost with the Steelers for a bunch of years because he was always number 2 or number 3 on the roster.
Yeah.
But, I really, really like that. I like when guys who are, a little older and still have ability, I like when they sign with a place where they're going to have a diminished role and be able to really take advantage of that role and not have too much on their plate, but they're smart enough to be able to do that really, really well. Good pick. Yeah, I kind of had forgotten about Emmanuel Sanders, but he's out there and he's legit. Ryan, round 2, pick 2.
Okay, my pick 2. He has probably the best first name ever. I was sad to see him leave Miami. Graduated from Harvard. He's played on just about every team in the NFL.
Right.
Ryan Fitzpatrick goes to the Washington Football Club.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading reports that he is expected to be the starter. So that's good on him after being kind of diminished to like a backup role under Tua. He's going to go to the Washington Football Club.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think they have major expectations going to the season just because they're not very good. But good on him. I thought he was going to stay in Miami as a backup, but clearly nobody actually wants to be a backup. So yeah, good for him.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Not the best first name in NFL history, by the way. That goes to DeBrickashaw Ferguson and will forevermore. Unbeatable. This is another great fit. Great pick by you, Ryan, here. I didn't really see him hanging around in Miami just to be Ryan or be Tua's, backup mentor guy. Washington needs quarterback help. They've got a really good defense, really young, really talented defense, but quarterback has been a problem. They got good offensive weapons. But yeah, bringing Ryan Fitzpatrick in kind of takes the pressure off of the draft. They're at the 19th pick, because they made the playoffs last year in a really crappy division. So they've got a bad pick in the first round where they probably won't be able to get a good quarterback. But what the Ryan Fitzpatrick thing does for you is, okay, if we don't get one of these quarterbacks in the first round of the draft, then we've got Ryan Fitzpatrick. We're good for a year. We can play him. We know he can hold it down. If you do get one of these first-round quarterbacks, then you got one. That's awesome. And if he's not ready to play right away, then you've got Ryan Fitzpatrick to step in, do what he did for Tua and what he's done in a couple other spots. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is not going to win you a Super Bowl. He's not going to throw for 5,000 yards or whatever, but he's going to be a really nice bridge quarterback. He can definitely hold it down. I like it. It's a good... Ryan Fitzpatrick wouldn't have been a great signing for every team, but he's a really great signing for the Washington football team. I love it. Any other thoughts on Ryan Fitzpatrick? Great beard?
Nope. Is that that's not a minimum deal, right? Like $10 million is still like a lot of money. Correct?
No, that's a good chunk of change. Yeah. The veteran minimum is 1.2 million, I think.
Okay, so yeah, he's still getting paid a decent amount.
Yeah. 10 million is really good. Like the best backups in the league probably make like $8 million or, $9 million. So 10 is kind of really good backup money / bridge quarterback money.
Yeah.
That's a good pickup, good signing for them. All right, I'm going to pick 2 guys with my second pick. I'm going to cheat a little. I'm going to put 2 guys together. I'm going with Corey Linsley and Matt Filer going to the LA Chargers. 2 big uglies, the big offensive linemen. Matt Filer is a guard coming from the Steelers. He's not best in the league or anything, but he's really, really solid. He's a great hold it down guy at the guard position. And Corey Linsley is the best center in the league coming from Green Bay. They got him on a very nice deal where some of the top offensive tackles in the league now are making $20 million a year, $22 million a year. Corey Linsley is only there. I think it's 4 years, $60 million. So like 12 to 15, $16 million, I think it is per year. And he's awesome. He does everything really, really well. Run blocks like a maniac and kills it in the pass game. Excuse me. Yeah, so I think I paired these two guys together because the LA Chargers need offensive line help bad, and they have for a while. And they've got a great young quarterback in Justin Herbert, like an awesome, awesome young quarterback who they drafted last year. And they need to protect him. They need to put stuff around him. They've got good wide receivers, but they need to be able to protect him from getting sacked. And they're making great, great moves. So I love the initiative by the Chargers to go out and get some offensive linemen to protect your young quarterback.
I think Baltimore can speak. Cincinnati can speak firsthand when you got a talented young quarterback and nobody to protect him. What happens? So
exactly.
Yeah. I agree with this moves. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where. That's a great point because just separately, I don't know what Cincinnati's doing here. They have the same exact problem, even worse, with Joe Burrow up there. They have no one to protect him, and they've made no moves so far to go out and secure him at all. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what they're thinking up there is in Cincinnati, but they should take some pages out of the LA Chargers notebook.
Yep, definitely agree with you.
There we go. Corey Linsley, Matt Filer are my two picks. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we got time for another round or so, maybe a little pick up on the time. So, Mark, third round. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with another Pats signing.
All right.
Offensive weapon, Nelson Aguilar.
Okay.
I remember him from the Eagles, because I know the Eagles played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and he kind of killed them. So, yeah, good signing. I read that he's coming off one of his better seasons with the Raiders. Raiders? Pretty sure it's the Raiders.
Yeah. The Raiders last year.
With the Raiders. So, yeah, once again, kind of just helping that New England offense. Yeah, still a good receiver to have on your team. Now you got Johnny Smith, Aguilar. I don't know who else is on the team.
Kendrick Bourne.
But great
the
sign.
other guy they signed.
Yeah.
I mean, this draft could have been best Patriots free agent signings. They did everything. Sure. And you could even lump all these four guys they signed together. Aguilar, Johnny Smith, you mentioned at the beginning. Another guy I can't remember. And
Matt
Judon, Hunter Henry, and the other receiver from the Niners. But, yeah, those four offensive weapons plus Matt Judon is a big, big change to your football team. Aguilar came in a little expensive, $13 million a year, but only for 2 years. Sucked with the Eagles as he was their first-round pick back in 2015, but had a nice little career year over with the Raiders last year. Yeah, I like what he adds, especially in a committee. I wouldn't want him to be your focus of your offense, but Nelson Aguilar will fit in really, really nicely with that Patriots system. Perfect. Ryan, second pick of round 3.
Okay, I'm going to take a page out of your book since you did it. I'm going to pick 2 players.
All right.
I'm going to pick Jacoby Brissett, going to Miami as the backup quarterback to fill Ryan Fitzpatrick's spot. And Adam Butler from the Patriots going to Miami, the defensive tackle. Picked him up for 2 years, $9.5 million. Those are my 2 picks. I like to see that Miami's not losing a ton of players, and they're filling their spots. So.
Yeah, Brissett's a nice little sneaky one. They got him super cheap, like $7.5 million a year, and he's had a lot of experience. Nothing spectacular, but I love him as your backup quarterback, especially for Tua, who the jury's out on still, and has had injury troubles. So it's nice to have a good backup there behind him. Nice. Good pick. All right, for my third one.
Do you have anything on Adam Butler?
Adam Butler. Where did he come from?
New England.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's nice. He's like he's kind of a shorter Aaron Donald type of guy. Just eats up double teams. Like you have to double team him. He's strong, low center of gravity. He's not going to change your game. They lost a guy, Davin Godchow, who actually went to the Patriots. So those guys actually kind of flip defensive tackles.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they're both kind of similar guys. They're big, powerful, eat up the double team kind of guys. Make the tackle. Yeah, good picks.
Who would you say is better?
I think Adam Butler's going to do more for the team. He's going to start and, be in there. And Davin Godchow is probably more of a rotational guy up there for the Patriots. But we'll see.
Okay.
You never know. Once a guy gets up there in New England, sometimes they turn out to be all-stars when we never heard of them before. So, yeah, you never know. My third pick, I'm going to go with another Washington football team signing. Another kind of no-name guy, and that's William Jackson coming from the Cincinnati Bengals. Maybe the best cornerback in the league over the last 3 years, William Jackson. Total shutdown island guy, can shut down any receiver, and the reason you've never heard of him is because he was the only guy on that Cincinnati Bengals defense who was able to do anything. So they still got diced and sliced, but William Jackson held his part down. Washington got him on a nice premium contract. I don't know the numbers exactly, but they got him at a high number, but he's totally worth it, and he's going to be your shutdown island corner. And for a Washington football team, like we mentioned, who has a really good young defense, especially on the defensive line, adding some secondary help is going to make them pretty special on the defensive side.
3 years, $40 million, by the way.
40 million. Yeah, good one. Yeah, a little bit of a shorter contract, but I totally think he's going to live up to that money. I'm guessing neither of you guys have seen much William Jackson tape over the years. No,
not at all.
Sir.
But write his name down. Yeah, keep an eye on him.
William
Jackson.
What's the motivation of going from Cincinnati to Washington? Like, you think Washington has like a plan to like keep on going from last year?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, both these franchises are some of the worst ownership groups in all of sports. But yeah, I think Washington at least has like the willingness to spend some money and like make some moves and at least go for it. Cincinnati is just, they penny pinch so much. They just never ever pay anyone. So yeah, I think, it's not a great move. It's not the best he could have done, but it's good money, and they're going to be at least competitive somewhat. So there you go. All right, There's our draft of the week. You guys happy with that? Let's read off the picks real quick. For Mark, it was Jonnu Smith. Yeah, sorry, go for it.
I think we all thought that one of us was going to pick J.J. Watt, that we just ignored it.
I kind of forgot that J.J. Watt was a free agent signing. Yeah, he kind of went down before this free agency period, but yeah, he's a good one. Honorable mention, J.J. Watt. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Real quick, for Mark, it was Jonnu Smith, Emmanuel Sanders, and Nelson Aguilar. Ryan picked Matt Judon, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and the combo of Jacoby Brissett and Adam Butler heading over to the Dolphins. I have John Johnson III for Cleveland, Matt Filer, Corey Linsley combo for the Chargers, and William Jackson III headed over to the Washington football team. And that was our draft of the week, and that is our show. That was a full hour. I can't believe it. Guys, how'd you feel about this week's episode?
It's good. Jam-packed.
Jam-packed.
Yeah.
High pace.
Lots of NFL free agents I got to look out for.
Yeah. NFL's fun because you get a lot of under-the-radar guys.
Yeah.
I love free
Lots
agency
of players.
in the NFL. It's good times. But this has been Marauder Morning. You can check us out on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Marauder Morning. We have a website, cfmu.ca. Search us up there. We are called Marauder Morning. And we are on your FM dial if you are in the Hamilton area, 93.3 CFMU. That is a guy banging on another wall in my apartment with a hammer. So that means it's time to get out of here. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode. Good stuff.